Today on the Tiger Lacrosse Report, we'll preview the Tigers game against the visiting Georgetown Hoyas. Get ready, fans, the Tiger Lacrosse Report starts now. Hello again and welcome back to the Tiger Lacrosse Report. I'm your host, Ben Rosenbaum. After defeating Penn State, the Tigers remain here at home at Johnny Unitas Stadium to take on the visiting Hoyas of Georgetown. To preview the matchup, I'm joined as always by head coach Sonia LaMonica. Coach, so big win against Penn State, but like you said in the last show, keep going. And so I imagine the team has already put it behind them and they're focused on Georgetown.
Hopefully, but yeah. It's obviously, there's a lot of hype and it's easy to get caught up in all that hype, but you know, we try to, as coaches, and certainly something I focus on is keeping our team grounded. That's going to be really key, really important. It's important too for us to draw confidence from you know, holding off a great Penn State team and a fierce rally and some things that we've got to do better. And the good thing is we've found lots of things that we can do a better job of in film. I'd be worried if we watched film and there wasn't much that we could have done better, and that's the good thing. You know, I think when you go back and look at film, a smarter coach than myself once said that you're never as good as you think you are, never as bad as you think you are, and you kind of see that when you go back to film. So we're excited to sort of go back to work this week and, you know, reset and build on some things to be even better, and you know, to invite a great Georgetown team who, you know, is coming off another win, their own win, and taking care of business, really.
You kind of touched on it there a little bit. From a mental standpoint for the players, you had this huge win, you beat Penn State, number 4 in the country, and now you're playing an unranked Georgetown team who had a dogfight against St. Joseph's. Mm-hmm. How do you keep them from overlooking the Hoyas or playing down potentially?
One tactic is we look back at some games last year that bit us in the butt, you know. Sure. That's always good history that we don't want to dwell on, obviously, but they serve as good reminders, you know. Any loss that, you know, I'm a big believer that you learn a lot from your losses, and that's an opportunity to be able to build from it and grow from it, and to draw from those experiences, and we'll certainly do that because we had a number of those games last year. This being a fresh year and we're 1-0, you know, we need to find those things that can help keep us grounded, remind us that it's very competitive. It doesn't matter if you're ranked or not. It's who shows up, really. Who's put in the prep, who's put in the work through the week, and then who shows up on the day. So it's going to be important that we dot our I's, cross our T's, and be willing to get out and compete really hard on Saturday.
It's still early, obviously, in the season. You're only playing your second game. How much learning, system-wise, and getting back into the swing of things are still happening offensively and defensively?
Yeah, I think it all sort of, it's a process. And I've found in our years that we seem to just always continue to get better and better as the season goes on. And a lot of that is, you know, yes, some of it is obviously the strategy and adjustments that you make from a coaching standpoint, but also that team chemistry just develops over time. And you know, we had a quick 3 weeks before our first game this preseason, and you know, it goes pretty fast. And we're still, you know, in those periods of time evaluating, figuring out, making decisions on who are our best personnel, who are our best combinations to put forth, and it's a process. And you know, and even leading up to Penn State, we're still sort of making adjustments, tweaking different systems that we're running, and you know, we'll continue to do that throughout the season as things change, or you know, scouting purposes, what have you. So we want to stay fluid and loose. I'm a big believer in our players just continue to play instinctually. You have to be able to do that. You know, you have different systems and sets, particularly more offensively, but you have to know how to play off of it based on what the defense is giving up.
Kylie Keating, 8 saves in the first game against Penn State, and now playing a Georgetown team who she had double-digit saves against last year. Mm-hmm. What's going to be the biggest thing for Kylie growing from her freshman year into her sophomore year, now being the starter?
Well, yeah, she's moving from, a reserve role, one last year where she did get a couple of game nods and stepped up big, which was really encouraging for us coming into this year and knowing that, we've got a great reserve goalie in Rachel Florek, who's young and green, but she's really developing well. That's good in itself. It keeps, them both competing. And but for Kylie, she's very level-headed. And I think it's great to have a goalie who has a coolness about him, has the ability to recover from setbacks, who can keep our defensive unit calm and composed when things aren't going our way. And, that's really where I think it's an important role for her to come into play this year. So outside of kind of her own, skill set in the cage and her ability to save the ball, but is just bringing that level of calm and composure so that we're not getting frantic when things aren't going our way. So that's something that I'm looking for her to continue to focus on. But she had a great start against Penn State, and she certainly, as many players made some errors that, she'll continue to focus and work on, but she's no stranger to putting extra time and continuing to develop her game, so that's what you want.
All right. Tigers and Hoyas will hit the field at Johnny Unitas Stadium Saturday the 17th at 3 o'clock. I'll have the call on TowsonTigers.com along with Sam Brookhart. And Coach, thanks for joining us, and good luck against Georgetown.
Thank you.
And that'll do it for us today on the Tiger Lacrosse Report. For head coach Sonia LaMonica, I'm Ben Rosenbaum. Thanks for joining us, and as always, go Tigers.